We'll move on with the next topic, that is selection and loop statements. So here we are going to see about different looping statements as well as some control statements. So to begin with, we'll start with the if statement. So if statement in Ruby is similar to that we've already learned in other languages, with only a simple difference, that is in other languages we were writing if, and within the parenthesis we were writing the condition expression. But whereas in this case we are writing if and there is no parenthesis for your conditional or control expression. Okay, so that is a difference here. So if followed by the conditional expression, if that is true, then you're going to execute this expression, and finally you're closing the if with the end. Okay, so we'll just see with an example. So I'll invoke the interactive Ruby here. Okay, okay, so okay, we'll just see with an example. So I'll use a variable a with the value 5. Then if a is greater than 10. So I am using the relational operator here. So in the previous video we had already spoken about relational operator. So whenever you want to compare between two operands, you can go for this relational operators. Okay, so here our two operands are a and the value 10. Okay, so if a is greater than 10, then you're going to execute this expression, that is a star 2. Finally you're closing the if with the end. So you can see here the resultant we got as nil, because this condition is false. A greater than 10 is false, so it is not going to execute this expression. So directly you're going to come out. So the written value is nil here. Okay, so we'll just do a slight modification here. So instead of a greater than 10, suppose I give a greater than 1. Okay, in that case what will happen, we'll just check. Okay, so in this case you can see here we got the result as 10. So what happens here, a value which it's already 5, you can just check out the values of a and b. So a value is 5, 5 is greater than 1 is true, then it will execute this particular expression here, that is 5 into 2, so the answer will be 10, which is stored in b. Okay, so you can see here the value stored in b is 10. So this is about your if statement. Next we'll go to else if. So again else if, the concept is same of what you have already learned, but the thing here is else that e is missing here. Okay, else if. So we'll see this example. So I've already written this example here. So here okay, so first we are reading the snow rate from the user. So in my first video of this module I had told you about how we can write a program, Ruby program in the editor. So here I am using Sublime Text. You can go for Notepad++ also, or you can go for Emacs. So whatever you're writing the program, and you're saving the program with the extension as .rb. Okay, okay, we'll come back here. So puts is nothing but display it in the monitor, okay, or your output screen. So enter the snow rate. So user has to enter the snow rate value, or the snow rate value has to be read from the user. So for that purpose you're using gets. So gets is used to read the input from the keyboard. So whatever value you have read, that will be in the form of a string, that should be converted to integer, so 2i. Okay, so whatever value you have read, that will be there in snow rate. So if the snow rate value is less than 1, then you're printing as light snow. Else if snow rate is less than 2, then you're printing it as moderate snow. If none of the above conditions are true, then you're going to the else part, and you're printing heavy snow. I'll just execute this and see. So first of all I have to come out of the interactive Ruby. Okay, so I have saved this file. I have saved this file in D drive in a folder called as Ruby. So I have to go to that location. Now I'm already in D drive and inside the folder Ruby. So I'm just going to give the command Ruby followed by name of the file. So name of the file is snow.rb. Okay, so here you can see what are the conditions we have to give here. So I'll just keep it like this. Okay, so if the snow rate value, okay, so I'll give the snow rate value as 0. In that case, what will happen? Light snow. So 0 is less than 1, so it will be printing as light snow. Suppose I give the value as 1, then it will print as moderate snow because it is less than 2. Okay. Suppose if I'm giving the snow rate as something 50, then it is greater, that is both of the above cases are false, so automatically it will be printing heavy snow. Okay, so you can see here you got the result as heavy snow and you're ending with the end. Okay, so this is the program for your else if. Next one you have is unless. So unless is similar to if, but what happens? The syntax is similar to if, but it is doing the inverse of if. So in if, what did we say? If the condition is true, then you're going to execute the code. But in unless, it is doing the inverse. So what is the meaning of this? If this condition is false, then you're going to print the statement. Okay, that is about your unless. So we'll just execute it, program and see. So again, we'll go to the interactive Ruby. So I'll give a value of a as 5. Okay, so a value is 5. So unless a is greater than 20, puts yes, else puts no, finally end. So what does this do? A is 5. 5 is greater than 20 is false, right? So that time what it is doing? This is doing opposite of if. That is, if this condition is false, then it is going to print yes. So you can see here result we got as yes. So now you can do the opposite of this. So suppose if I'm doing if 5 is okay, if 5 is greater than 2. Now in this case 5 is greater than 2. This condition is true actually, right? So we'll see how will be the result printed now. Else no, then end. So now you can see you got a result as no. So what happened here? 5 is greater than 2. Actually it is true. So what happened? This is not executed, but this part is executed. So unless works just opposite of if statement. Okay. So next we'll go to Ruby's multiple selection construct. So both are named as case here. So first one is similar to the switch case, which we have already learned previously in other programming language. So this is similar to that. Okay, so we'll just see the switch. So case followed by some expression. This expression value you are using and checking with all the cases. Okay, so if the value, now in this case suppose this is matching, then what happens? This statement will be printed. If it is not matching with this value, then it will go and check with the next value. Here if it is matching, then the statement will be printed, else it will go to the else part. So what happens in switch, or in this case Ruby case construct? If none of the above cases are matching, then you're going to the else part. Okay, so here you have an example here. Case, here expression is inval. So what you can do, you can write a program similar to this. So what we are doing, we are reading, that is that is puts, enter the value, enter the value you can write. Then you are writing I inval is equal to gets 2 underscore I, that is convert to integer. Okay, when the value, that is your inval, whatever value you have given, if it is -1, then what happens? Then you're going to increment the negative count. Okay, if it is not this, then check the next part whether it is equal to 0. If it is equal to 0, then 0 count will be incremented. If this is false, then it goes to this part. If this is true, then positive count will be incremented. If this is false, then you're going to the else part. That is, if none of the above matches, then it is going to the else part. Here it is printing error in val, that is out of range. And finally you're closing with the end. Okay, next you have one more example, that is about same thing, but here what we are doing, we are mentioning the range. Okay, so case capacity. So we are entering, you're reading the value of capacity. So if the capacity value is 0, then you're going to print. So you can either use print or you can use puts also. Both do the same thing. Only difference is puts is going to print, add a new line character. That nil part will come in the next line, but if you're using print, it will be in the same line. Okay. So capacity, if it is 0, then you're printing you ran out of the out of gas. If the capacity what you're given, it is within the range of 1 to 20. So you can see here, this is range. So two double dot you're putting and you're writing the starting as well as the ending value. Okay. If it is within the range of 1 to 20, then this statement will be printed. If not, then check for the next. If this is true, print this, else go and check for the next one. If this is true, print this, else, that is if none of the above cases matches, then you're going to print error, capacity has the invalid value. Then finally close it with the end. Okay. So these are the examples for your how you can write a program using case construct. Okay. So in this example, you're not mentioning the range. Here we are using the range concept. Okay. Next you have the second form. That is, second form of case construct uses Boolean expression, that is in terms of true and false, to choose a value to be produced by the construct. So when the Boolean expression, so when it is true, then you're going to execute the corresponding expression here. Okay. If this is false, then check for the next one. If none of the above are true, then the else part expression will be executed. Then here you are closing with the end. You have an example here. So in this case, what happens is, case expression will be evaluated true if the year is a leap year. So you're checking whether it is a leap year. So if the year is a leap year, then the expression is going to return a value equal to true. Okay, that is what we said. Boolean expression returns in terms of true or false. Next you have the while statement, that is similar to what we have seen in C. So while you can use whenever you want to do something repeatedly. So you're calling it as a looping statement. Okay. But one more thing, additional one is, here we are using end. In C we were just using the opening and closing braces. Here we are using end to close. Okay. While control expression, if this control expression is true, then you're going to execute the body of the statement. Okay. Whenever this expression is true, then execute this. Again it will loop until this condition becomes false. Okay. Along with this, you can also add the do. Okay. Okay, here you have an example program here. So I'll just show you. I've already done it. Okay, that is okay. So you can see here we have a program here. So what you're doing here, this is for your while. Okay, I is equal to I, you have initialized to 0, num you have initialized to 5. So while 0 is less than 5, what you're going to do, condition is true, you're going to print the value. So we have already seen in the previous videos, whenever you want to print the value of a variable, then you can write it like this. Okay, hash followed by, within the opening braces, within the curly braces, you're writing the variable name. Okay, you're printing this. After that, you're incrementing the value of I. Again, I value becomes 1, 1 is less than 5, print it, increment, 2 is less than 5, like this it will repeat. Okay, and when this condition becomes false, then directly you're not going to come inside this, but you're going to end. So we'll just see the output of this. So I have to come out of this interactive Ruby. Okay, so the command to execute is ruby followed by brac dot rb. So you can see here the result. Okay, so 0 is less than 5, condition is true, so you're printing 0. 1 is less, yes, printed. 2 is less, 3 is less, 4 is less than 5, yes, print. Next time when you do, what happens, 5 is less than 5, so it is false. So this is the result what you're going to get. Okay, so this is an example for your while. Similarly, next one you have is until. Until statement syntax is similar to while, except that inverse of the value of control expression is used. So how we spoke about if and unless, similarly here it is while and until. Okay, syntax is similar to while, but what is the control expression, opposite of that? In while, when the condition is true, you're going to execute the body of the loop. In case of until, when the condition is false, then you're going to execute the body of the loop. Okay, so we have a program for that. Okay, where is it? Okay, so this is a program. So you can see here I is equal to 0. So 0 is greater than 5. 0 is greater than 5. Condition is false, right? Just see the result what you're going to get now. We'll execute this. Ruby, it is a file name, until.rb. So you can see the result here. Just see here. 0 is greater than 5. Actually, it is false. So this is until. Until means what? When this is false, you're going to execute the body of the loop. So 0 is printed. Again, you're incrementing. 1 is greater than 5. It is false. Again, you're printing. 2 is greater. Print. 3 is greater. 4 is greater. 5 is greater than 5. 5 is greater than 5. Again, it is false. So it is printing. Again, it will be 6. When it be 6, then this condition is true, so you're going to come out. Okay, so remember, until is opposite of while. Next we'll speak about infinite loop. So infinite loop, whenever you're going to infinite loop, you need to find some way to come out of that, right? So Ruby has an infinite loop construct and loop exit statement. So what are those? We'll see. There are two ways to control an infinite loop with break and next statement. These statements can be made conditional by putting them in then clause of an if construct. So we'll see. We have example here. So first one we'll see for break. Okay, what does break do? Where is the program? We have a program for break. Okay, so you can see here we have used a for loop for I starting from 0 to 5. So the range is 0 to 5. If I is greater than 2, then you're breaking. So if 0 is greater than 2, you're breaking. Just see the result of this and compare. Okay, break.rb. break.rb is the name of the file. So you can see 0 is greater than 2. It is false. Okay, it's false, right? So in that case, what you're doing, you're going to print the value of the local variable. Again, 1, it is incremented here. 1 is greater than 2, false. 2 is greater than 2, it is false. Next time when you increment, 3 is greater than 2. 3 is greater than 2 is true. Then what you're going to do, you're going to break. You're going to break means you're going to terminate. You're coming out. Okay, that is break. Whereas next one is until. Next one is next. So in break, what happens when that condition holds, when that condition is true, you're going to come out of the program. Whereas in this case, this is next. In next, what happens? In break, you're going to come out of the program if the condition is true. Whereas in this case, you see here, 0 is less than 2. 0 is less than 2, condition is true. Then next means what? You are going to skip that particular iteration and go to the next iteration. That time next iteration means value of I will be 1. 1 is less than 2, even that is true. Again go to the next iteration. 2 is less than 2, that is false. So in that case, what you're going to do, you're going to print the value. Again it will be 3. 3 is less than 2, condition is false, printed. 4 is less than 2, printed. 5 is less than 2, printed. So you're going up to 5. Okay, so that is the difference between your next and break. Break is terminate, whereas next is only that iteration is skipped and you go to the next iteration. Okay, same thing, one more example is given here in your textbook. So this loop is nothing but you can use any looping statement. So here in the program you can see here I have used for loop here. You can go for while also. Then begin. You're starting gets, you're reading some data. If the data is less than 0, if this condition is true, then you're breaking. Breaking means stop. Otherwise you're going to add with the sum value. Okay, so you're finding the sum value. Similarly, here you have another program that is for next. So just remember, break is your terminating, whereas in case of next, only that iteration is skipped and you're going to the next iteration. So this is all about your looping statements. Okay, so all this comes under your control statements. Okay, even the selection and looping statement. So with this we are done with a control expression as well as control statements. Thank you.